What is it going to take for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the Super Bowl? Not 5 years in advance, not 8 years in advance, not even just 3 years in advance. This year, what is it going to take for the Pittsburgh Steelers to get that done? Well, today, I've got my plan to get that job done for the fans of Steelers Nation and to bring a 7th Lombardi Trophy to the City of Champions, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now, before we get into the Super Bowl plan, this video idea was brought to us by Jason Dimitrovich. He was our Super Chat MVP on Steelers Talk Live last week, and the winner of that competition would be able to pick a segment that we do here on the channel. So Jason won, and he said, you know what? Do a plan to get the Steelers their 2nd or their 7th Lombardi Trophy. So I said, let's do it. All right, make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now if you haven't all ready to join our family. All right, it's over 50,000 Yinzers strong. It is the largest Steelers YouTube community here on the platform. We have weekly live shows. We got weekly mock drafts. We're going to have extensive draft coverage all throughout next week. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Now, before we get into this here, major team needs. These are the 4 big ones for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, yeah, you could add a safety and you could add an inside linebacker, interior defensive lineman, all these different things, but you need to get a center, you need to get a wide receiver, you need to get a corner, and you need to get an offensive tackle at some point during this NFL offseason still, okay? So there's 2 avenues to get that done, through the draft and then also through free agency. So yesterday, I put out a win now mock draft for this particular instance, and this is what we ended up getting, all right? Troy Fondo in round 1 out of Washington, Ricky Pearsall to be the number 2 wide receiver, Andrew Phillips to be a corner of the future here in Pittsburgh, Cooper Beebe, an interior offensive lineman out of Kansas State, Muhammad Kamara from Colorado State to be another rotational edge rusher, Christian Boyd to eventually potentially take over for Cameron Hayward at the 3 technique, Jalen Ford, really good coverage linebacker that's going to be a rotational piece right away. So that is my mock draft, all right? And if you want to see me break this down in detail, I'm going to put the link in the comments and description. We put out a video out earlier today breaking down this mock draft in detail, okay? So I'm going to put the link in the comments and description of today's show. I'll also pin it to the video itself. It'll be right in the top right of today's show right about now. So just click that if you want to see my breakdown of that mock draft. So now, you go to that video and you check out that mock draft, that's great. After that, and after we make those picks, what do we do about free agency? And is there any other big-name free agents that the Steelers can add to try and help them win a Super Bowl in 2024? Now, currently, according to Over the Cap, the Steelers have just over $11 million in available cap space for 2024, and you're going to be spending a good chunk of that on the players that you draft in the draft this year, okay? So you don't have a whole lot of room when it comes to free agents at this point in the process. But you do have an opportunity to potentially restructure some players and get some more space here. I think the 2 guys that you can consider restructuring are Alex Highsmith and Minkah Fitzpatrick. They both have multiple years left on their deal, lots of cushion to convert some of their base salary into a signing bonus and help get this team some more cap space for the 2024 season and add some big-name players. So now that we've added some cap space here, let's go out and get a couple of players that are going to help this team win a Super Bowl. And let's start with Stephon Gilmore, the cornerback formerly with the Dallas Cowboys. Perfect fit for what the Steelers want in their cornerback outside of Joey Porter Jr. All right, they're in Dallas. They played a lot of press man coverage over the last 2 seasons, and he's been unbelievable doing just that. That's what the Steelers like to do. And yes, Stephon Gilmore is getting up there in age, but I think that he's still a really, really good player, and I think he'd be a really good mentor to guys like Joey Porter Jr. In my mock draft, I bring in Andrew Phillips to play the slot in year 1. You got guys like Dante Jackson here as well, and then also Corey Trice Jr. and Darius Rush could learn a lot from a hardy veteran like Stephon Gilmore. As long as you don't pay him too much, I think he'd be an excellent fit here with the black and gold. Then another player that I would love to see the Pittsburgh Steelers sign for the right price is Justin Simmons on a 1-year deal, and you cut DeMonte KZ. That saves you $3 million in cap space, and that will give you a little bit more cushion to get Justin Simmons on your roster. Because I look at what the secondary could look like with Stephon Gilmore and Justin Simmons added to it. You got Joey Porter Jr., Gilmore, Phillips in the slot. Then you got 3 really good safeties in Simmons, Fitzpatrick, and Deshaun Elliott. And you could do a lot of interesting disguises. You could do a lot of creative things defensively. And we already know how dominant the Steelers defense already is with the personnel they have on the roster right now. But just imagine, man, you're adding Patrick Queen already to this defense. You are getting a fully healthy TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith back next year. And if you get that secondary to be that dynamic and you're able to move Minka around as much as you'd be able to with these two signings, I think it'd be an absolute home run if you can add both Stephon Gilmore and Justin Simmons to this defense. Just one-year contracts, though. I don't want that money leaking into future years. Now, coming up here, the biggest X factor for 2024 for the Steelers to win a Super Bowl. This thing must happen if the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be hoisting a Lombardi Trophy, their seventh in franchise history, in New Orleans next year. But before we get into that, no matter what the Steelers do during the 2024 NFL Draft and no matter who they pick, they're going to be wearing this hat right here. This is the official 2024 Pittsburgh Steelers draft hat. So if you think this is going to be a historic draft class for the Pittsburgh Steelers, just like it was last year, go ahead and get yourself that draft hat right now by go chatsports.com/DH24. Really do appreciate everybody that clicks that link because it lets Fanatics know that we sent you. Again, that's chatsports.com/DH24. Really love the design of the hat this year. So if you want to represent the Steel City here and you want a piece of Steelers history in your closet today, you can go chatsports.com/DH24 and put the link to that in the comments and description so you can let Fanatics know that we sent you. So the biggest X factor, and listen, you can make all the moves that you want in the draft, in free agency, whatever. I trust Omar to get that stuff right. But the one thing that must happen if the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win a Super Bowl next year is Russell Wilson needs to show the F up. All right, plain and simply. He has to be an above average NFL starting quarterback, top 15 in the league, and he has to deliver in the clutch. And not only in the clutch in the regular season, but in the clutch in the postseason. Because you know, when you go up against teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, like the Houston Texans, like the Baltimore Ravens, like all these really good teams in the AFC now, there's going to be close games, all right? If you have a really good team and you go up against another really good team, chances are it's going to be a close game. It's going to come down to the quarterback play in the fourth quarter. Russell Wilson has proven throughout his career he's one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. And listen, you don't have to ask Russell to be Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or to be a world-beating quarterback. There's already in place a lot of good stuff here in Pittsburgh. You got a really good head coach in Mike Tomlin who has kept this team afloat despite some really bad quarterback and offensive play over these last several years. Russell Wilson turns that around. I have full faith that Mike Tomlin can get this team back to a Super Bowl and another Super Bowl championship. Also a great defense that's constantly in the top 5 in most defensive categories. Russ is going to be supported on the defensive side of the ball. Plus a sound run game. Arthur Smith is somebody that loves to run the football, and he's got 2 really good running backs in Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren to give it to, so Russell Wilson isn't going to be asked to throw it 50 times a game. And then there's good weapons to utilize. George Pickens is one of the best downfield threats in football today, and then they're going to probably be adding a wide receiver or 2 to this roster before the start of next season. All right, so there's going to be weapons to utilize, a great run game, a great defense, and it's all put together by a great head coach. So what the Steelers need is Russell Wilson, who has been to a Super Bowl, has been to 2, nearly won both, to be able to be that hardy veteran that's been in the big moment before to really deliver in those big moments. Right now, he's tied for 9th all-time in fourth quarter comebacks with 31, and he's 10th all-time in game-winning drives with 39. He's done both of these things in the playoffs before as well. He has been under those bright lights. He has won a ring, all these different things, and he did it again in Seattle with a great run game, with a great defense, with a great head coach. This is an environment that Russell Wilson can thrive in my opinion. And it really is plain and simple to me. All right, if Russell Wilson plays well and the Steelers stay healthy, which is very possible, all right, especially the Russell Wilson part. I think he's a great fit for Arthur Smith's offense. He's going to have the support system around him. There's no reason why a 35-year-old Russell Wilson, who is still in peak physical condition with a great deep ball, can't get the job done this year. And I am super excited to see Russell Wilson prove the doubters wrong this year in the Steel City behind a great defense, behind a great run game with great weapons around him, and for him to ball out, because nobody works harder than Russell Wilson. I think he deserves this opportunity. I think he's going to take it and run with it, and I can't wait to see him do his thing. But make no mistake, guys, if Russell Wilson doesn't show up in 2024, you can kiss a Super Bowl goodbye when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, what say you guys down there in the comments section? Can the Pittsburgh Steelers win a Super Bowl this year with Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback? Give me a yes or no down there in the comments section to let me know what you're thinking. For more content from me on social media, I post to my X and Instagram accounts every single day, giving you guys an additional splash of Steelers and NFL draft content every single day. So if you want to check me out on X, I'm at Jack_Sperry and at SpareDog.football on Instagram. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. A big shout out to Jason Dimitrovich. I keep butchering that name, Jason. I'm so sorry about that, but I appreciate your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now if you haven't already. And until next time, here we go, Steelers.